Neat stuff, neat stuff.
Hi there, Scary Gary here. Glad you guys came back for another week. Well, today we're going to talk about the AreoShield wind deflector. Now, the main reason I even considered this, when we got Loretta 2.0, she has a front windshield on it. Now, I know the windshield is automotive grade, but you know, the rocks flip up and they hit and they bust your windshield in the front. The last thing in the world is I wanted my windshield to be busted on Loretta 2.0. So I looked at something to cover that up, to protect it a little bit. And in my research, I found this AreoShield, which basically is just like a little foil that fits on the top of your vehicle, and it deflects the air over the top of your camper. Now, some of their paperwork, some of their claims is that it would basically save you 3 miles a gallon. And I mean, normally I'm around the 10 mark of how many miles per gallon. And if I could go to 10 to 13, basically that saves quite a bit of money nowadays. And I projected it out. If you do the math, it'd take you a little more than 8,100 miles to recoup the cost of the AreoShield. And the AreoShield cost about $470, somewhere in that neighborhood. I got a white one because I got it when I had my F-150, and the F-150 was white. Now, it doesn't look terrible on my black truck. Let's go back to the F-150. It sets on top of your vehicle and straps down much like the old car top carriers do, except you don't put anything in it. You basically just tilt it up, and it has it so you can allow it to lay down or you can allow it to set up. And it goes down and it hooks to the inside the doors, because the trucks nowadays don't really have the old gutters like the old cars used to have above the windows. This is where I had my first problem with the F-150. It gives you 4 different clips to use on different vehicles. And it's telling me in my F-150, I needed to use a number 9. I couldn't get it to set in there. It just wouldn't stay. So I used one of the other clips, and actually one of the other YouTube gentlemen says that it fit better. The 9 is made to go kind of under. You're supposed to pull the gasket down and fit this over the top of it, then put the gasket back up there, and then you strap it through the little hook that's on the top. The other one I used, which I think was a 4, or can't remember exactly the number, it actually fit over the top of the gasket. And our first trip out there, and then I compared it to what we were getting in the way of mileage, and basically I get on the average of about 10 miles to the gallon in the F-150. That one Pacific trip, I got 10.1. I mean, so that right off the bat, it told me, this is not that good of a deal. I needed to get more data, so we're going to try it on another trip with the F-150. I put it on like 2 days before we were going to take off on the trip, and I'm driving down the road, and it comes one heck of a rainstorm. And all of a sudden, I'm kind of hearing water running, and I'm looking in the back, and due to those clips were setting over the gasket, it was not making a good seal on those back doors, and water was running to the back of my truck. Needless to say, I took it off virtually immediately, dried my truck up, and I never tried it again on the F-150. The one major benefit that I did see of it is it definitely kept the bugs off the front of the trailer. We all call our front of our trailers as we take long trips, especially in the spring or when the bugs are really out. We call it the graveyard for a million bugs, because I mean that's what gets up there, and then you need to clean it because bug guts aren't exactly good on finishes either. But more data is still needed before I can say this is no good at all, or if it's only good for keeping bugs off your window. So I tried it on the Ram 2500. And when I tried it on the Ram 2500, it stated that I needed to use the 9 clip again. And so I went to put them on, and hey, they're working pretty well till I got to the 4th clip. And when I put it on, it wouldn't go on there. And when I got to looking at it, and there was like a metal burr inside of it, down like across here, so it wouldn't let the thing slide all the way down. I must have tried that clip first on the last one and figured out it wouldn't work. So then I just threw them aside and used the other ones. So I went ahead and called the factory up. They sent me another clip. I put it on the truck. They all fit very well. The gasket went over the top. When I've been through rainstorms, have not had the problem with any leakage or anything. And since putting on the 2500, I have traveled 2,425 miles with the AreoShield on the top of the truck. It consisted of one 500-mile trip and one 1,900-mile trip in round numbers. And on the 500-mile trip, I only averaged 10.16 miles per gallon. On the 1,900-mile trip, I averaged 12.67 miles per gallon. If you want to take the combined average of the two, I got 12.03 miles per gallon. Now, I have pulled the trailer with my Ram 2500 6,311 miles that I've checked the mileage with. And on that 6,300, I have gotten 13.64 miles per gallon. So I am not getting better miles per gallon. I'm actually getting worse miles per gallon. Now, granted, this is only looking at it with virtually 2,500 miles on the AreoShield and additional 6,300 miles, so that'd be virtually about almost getting close to 9,000 total miles looking at it. So it's a tough data to look at, but still, it's just not enough. It's not enough to pay for a $469 item. And there's one other disadvantage with it. I mean, you have the advantage, keeping the bugs off the front. But there's one major disadvantage. If you want to hear it. Finley, can you hear that? Yes, it's pretty loud with the AreoShield on top. So, if you want to keep the bugs off the front of your vehicle, then, yeah, this is pretty neat stuff. If you want to save 3 miles per gallon, I just don't have the evidence for that yet. And definitely, I kind of like to talk to Mary Lou and listen to the radio a little bit when we go down the road on trip. That AreoShield on top of the vehicle, it just makes these old ears a little harder to hear. Well, I hope you've enjoyed, and I sure hope to see you next week.
If you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up.
Turn on your post notifications.
Put the comments down below. Subscribe and you make me happy.